What's going on, everybody? It's Aurora XYZ coming at you with a brand new video, and it is pretty decently early in the morning, and I just woke up because my friend decided to just randomly appear out of nowhere. And I look at my notifications through all the many of them of you guys submitting kit pictures, which I will get to in a separate video. I saw that the organization has posted a new look at the Purery Archetype coming out in Deck Build Pack Amazing Defenders. So we did look at the Rescue Ace Archetype. I not only have a video looking over them, but also I have a video with some sick replays with a deck list, which I think is really cool. I think the deck's really fun. But since then, we've been like completely in the dark about this set. And so it seems like we're finally getting another one of the archetypes revealed. So this is the second out of the third. And I'm pretty sure this is like the Melfi-esque one. Like seriously. So I took a quick scroll down and like all of the artwork is just Melfi mixed with Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. It's so weird. So yeah, ignoring this really creepy picture of what I think is supposed to be like Weevil almost. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So it's like Eevee, but not Eevee. Edit PSCT fix. Yeah, I said there was a PSCT issue. So the first one is just called Purery. Okay. It's a level 1 light fairy with 100 attack and defense. If it's normal or special summon, you can excavate the top 3, add an excavated Purery spell or trap to your hand, and then place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Okay, very nice Pot of Duality or Marince's Blue Tang sort of effect there. Once per turn, you can reveal a Purery quick play spell in your hand, and if you do, special summon an Xyz monster that mentions it from your extra deck. Using this face-up card you control as material, this is treated as an Xyz summon, and if you do, attach the revealed card to it as additional material. Okay, so we not only have a theme of Xyz monsters, but also of quick play spells, and considering we're jumping right into Xyz monsters, this seems to be the second archetype in this deck build pack so far that relies on a level 1 monster. So what I'm hearing is, if you don't already have a quick play, it's basically, don't get ashed, bro. It's that simple. But okay, so it looks like we just have a bunch of... Okay, well, actually, that is kind of like Eevee. That's hilarious. Okay, so we have a bunch of rank 2s and a rank 7. Starting off with a Purery Happiness. It's a rank 2 light fairy with 2000 attack and 100 defense. It requires 2 level 2s. Oh god. Sprite. Oh no. If it's battles at the end of the damage step, you can add a Purery card from your deck to your hand. Also, if it has Purery Happy Memory as material, you can make the attack of one face-up monster on the field become halved. And then thrice per turn. Oh my god, we're getting another thrice per turn card finally. I thought Mare was going to be lonely forever. When you activate a Purery quick play spell card, quick effect, you can attach that card in the field to this card as material. Then you can return one spell or trap your opponent controls to the hand. Not terrible, so it looks like a Hayate, but it can't attack directly. I do like the thrice per turn, though. Don't know how often it's going to come up unless you, like... I mean, I guess this is really funny in situations where you red reboot your opponent and then you just start bouncing all their background. There's something they can do about it. But I guess you don't have to bounce. You can just attach the material, so that seems fine. Next up, we have a Purery Beauty. This is basically just Glaceon mixed with Vaporeon. It's a rank 2 water fairy, 1600 attack and 1100 defense, requires 2 level 2s. Once per turn, you can target an effect monster your opponent controls. Its effects are negated until the end of this turn, and it is a quick effect if you have Purery Pretty Memory as material. Thrice per turn, when you activate a Purery quick play spell card, you can attach that card in the field as material, then you can change one opponent's monster's battle position. This is obviously really good. It's just imperm, basically, on legs, and it's probably going to be easy to get the Pretty Memory thing as material if you just use Purery to search it. And then this could be okay. It's sort of like a Virtual World, what's the name of the other trap card? The one that revives from grave. It's basically that, where it's like not very great in most situations, but it comes up. I don't know. Battle position switching is just like not that great unless it flips face down. Next up we have the Purery Plump. Is a rank 2 Earth Fairy. I mean, very enough left support. 200 attack, 2100 defense, 2 level 2 monsters. Once per turn, you can target up to 2 spells or traps in the graveyards, attach them to this card as material. This is a quick effect if it has Purery Delicious Memory as material. Thrice per turn, when you activate a Purery quick play spell card, you can attach one card on the field to this card as material, and then you can banish one monster on the field until the end phase. Okay, so far this is the best thrice per turn effect. Being able to banish one monster in the field non-targeting until the end phase is very great removal. And then it seems to have essentially a Tiger Mortar effect on it to attach more things to as material. But what I'm wondering is that we don't really have anything that does stuff to the materials, because like we have nothing so far that detaches, right? It's just like, yeah, if you have this as material, just activate this effect for free. So I'm assuming the back row will involve the materials. So finally we have Purery Happiness. It's a rank 7 light fairy. This is the one on the cover art with 2500 attack and 1100 defense. It requires 2 level 7s. That says you can also exceed summon it by using a rank 2 monster you control with 5 or more materials. Okay, transfers materials to this card. During your main phase, you can detach a material from this card, and if you do, negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls until the end of this turn. If this card is a level 1 Purery monster as material, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. Or this effect's activation, sorry. And when an attack is declared involving this card with 5 or more materials, inflict 1500 damage to your opponent. Okay, so now it seems we actually have something that uses the Xyz materials, at least a little bit. Being able to essentially dark rule all your opponent's monsters is pretty nice, especially if your opponent can't respond to it because you have the level 1 Purery attached to it. I don't know how you're attaching it to it. That target spells and traps. Oh wait, no, Purery special summons one from your extra and then immediately attaches itself. Okay, yeah, so you're fine. So you just attach the Xyz monsters and the quick play spells repeatedly to make sure your opponent can't respond. Very strong. And then it seems like it's mandatory burn here, which could be annoying that it's mandatory, but it could also be good that it's mandatory. I don't know. But 1500 damage for something that already has 2500 attack is very nice. Especially because if that means also if they're trying to attack it, because it says an attack is declared involving this card, that means they'll take 1500 if they try to swing at it too. So that could put them in a sticky situation in that they cannot like get rid of the Purery Happiness with like a card effect maybe, but so like their only choice is to run it over, but you just prevent them from running it over because their life points are too low. So that's all the Xyz monsters it looks like, including the main boss monster. Next up, we have a field spell, Stray Purery Street. It says your opponent cannot target Purery monsters you control card effects the turn they were special summon. Kinda wish it said normal summoned as well, so that the regular Purery can't be impermed or veilered. Once per turn, if a face-up Purery Xyz you control leaves the field by your opponent, special summon a level 1 Purery from your deck or graveyard, so that's how you consistently get it out at least, I guess, a little bit. During each end phase, you can target one Purery Xyz monster on the field, attach a Purery quick play spell from your deck or graveyard to it as material. So that's how you're consistently keeping materials on the Purery Happiness. Pretty solid effects overall, actually. So it's not a field spell that does anything like immediately, like the Tier Lance field spell or Light Stage effect. But it is pretty strong. It gives protection to your things. It gives you some little bit of recovery with the special summoning the level 1 Purery from your deck or grave, even though they probably can just kill it immediately. And then consistently attaching things from deck or grave as material is pretty nice, specifically for the Purery Happiness, so that you have a consistent flow of Xyz materials. Overall, very nice field spell. Next up, we have Purery, my friend. That's so cute. What the fuck? Oh, it's a continuous spell that says you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. You can pay 500 life points to reveal 3 Purery cards from deck except Purery, my friend. And if you do, your opponent randomly picks one for you to add to your hand and shuffle the rest back into your deck. If a face-up Purery Xyz monster you control leaves the field by your opponent even during damage step, you can add up to 3 Purery quick play spells with different names from your graveyard to your hand. So this is basically a guaranteed way to get access to Purery, because you can just reveal 3 copies of Purery because it doesn't say different names, and so your opponent's forced to give you one, so that's pretty good. And then we have some really good recursion, not gonna lie, getting 3 quick play spells. We still don't even know what the quick play spells do. We have like at least 4 or 5 of them to look over. We just have no clue what they do yet. So this could be really strong depending on what the quick play spells do. And it seems like we're finally getting to one. Oh, these have a long effect. Okay. So starting off, we have Purery Happy Memory that says, apply this effect to one card on the field until the end of the next turn. Then you can discard one card, and if you do, special a level 1 Purery from your deck. Once applied, the next time that card will be destroyed by card effect, it is not destroyed. A Purery Xyz monster that has this card as material gains this effect. This card can attack monsters a number of times each battle phase, up to the number of Purery Happy Memory attached to it, plus 1. So this is a rather bloated effect, but I think it's very strong, actually. So card effect destruction that can be applied to both yours or your opponent's things that could actually benefit you if your opponent's playing a certain deck, as well as getting you immediate access to the level 1 Purery, which is really good. Hopefully all of them do that. Okay, thank God. It seems like all of them let you actually do that, because honestly, it seemed very inconsistent to get to it, but this makes it seem like a lot easier to actually get access to Purery itself. Being able to swing multiple times is pretty nice too, especially if you just put it under Purery Happiness, because it says any Purery monster that has it as material can get it, so that is pretty strong. So next up, we have Purery Pretty Memory that says each player gains 1000 life points, then you can discard one and special a level 1 Purery from deck. And Purery Xyz, sorry, it's so hard to say, that has this card as material gains this effect. Once per turn, you can send one other card you control to the graveyard, then target one card your opponent controls, attach it to this card as material. Wow, okay. That is very strong. So think about it like this. So Sky Striker has some really strong effects on Area 0 and multi-roll at this low cost of sending something they control to a graveyard, and that has almost always never mattered to them. And so you can just basically get this for free. It does target, granted, but it's any card, and it attaches as material, meaning you keep it forever until that monster dies or until you detach it, which is really, really good. And that's just a once per turn effect. You just keep this constantly on your card. Not to mention, if you have multiples, it looks like it's a soft once per turn, maybe. I don't know if that's how that works. Let me know if that's actually how that works, if you like actually know. But I think if you have multiple of this, it might not be like an actual once per turn. It might just be like a once per copy. Ooh, this seems very deadly. So it looks like our final quick play spell is Purery Delicious Memory. It says make a monster from the field unable to be destroyed by battle until the end of the next turn. Then you can discard 1/2 special A level 1 Purery from deck. And if Purery XYZ gains this effect, with it has this as material, gains 300 attack and defense for each material attached to this card. So this can make your happiness very strong, though it is definitely the weakest of the two. Or of the three, I should say, sorry. But it could just make X Purery just, like, super bloated because you're guaranteed gonna have at least 5 on him at all times, or her, or whatever. Making it gain a constant 1,500, plus more if you just keep attaching more. And with that, that is the last quick play spell. Looks like they have one actual trap card, because this is just a reprint of Xyz Tribal Rivals. Let's just go ahead and read this trap. So it says Purery Leap. It's just a Danger Sukanoko situation. Is a normal trap that says you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. Target a Purery XYZ you control, special a Purery XYZ with a different rank from your extra deck by using it as material, but return the summoned monster to the extra deck during the end phase in the next turn. It is treated as an XYZ summon, transfer its materials to the summoned monster, and you can banish this card, then target up to 3 Purery monsters in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck. Okay, very nice. So we have basically you just get to slap your X Purery on top of that, because that's the only one with a different rank. So that makes me think in the future we're going to get another one with a different rank, because all of them are rank 2s, and then we do have the X Purery Happiness that can be slapped on top of that. Granted, you can also slap one of the rank 2s on top of it, which is interesting. Unfortunately, the Xyz monster that was under it doesn't get to stay, so when it returns, all the materials are going to go to grave. And then it also sort of has a Zodiac combo-esque effect to recycle your Xyz monster resources, which is pretty nice, actually, because like Zodiac, you are probably going to be going through a lot of these rank 2s, and so that can keep you up a little bit in terms of recovery. But with that out of the way, I think that is the last card to review for the Purery Archetype. So what do I think about the Purery Archetype? I think this is just adorable. Like I said, it's like Melfi meets Dragon Buster Destruction Sword, or just the Dragon Buster archetype in general, and I think that is really cute. So it actually did manage to patch up the issues that I thought it would have. My main thing was that, similar to how Rescue Ace needs to rely on Hydrant to actually do their plays, you would be too reliant on the level 1. However, it seems like they are a lot better in that department of getting their level 1 on board, instead of having to rely on a bunch of out-of-archetype search spells and stuff. They do have all of the quick plays that can give them access to the special summon from deck, as well as the continuous that can add it directly from deck to hand, and then you have different ways to special it from deck or grave via like the field spell and such. So that makes it seem a little bit better than Rescue Ace in that department. Granted, it doesn't have a crazy set 4 effect, but I think the Xyz monsters have pretty solid effects. I think, you know, being able to add a Purery card during, at the end of the damage step, like a Hayate, is pretty nice. You also have basically an Imperm, and you have a Tiger Mortar effect, with also a non-targeting banish for a monster, a not Book of Moon, but like half a Book of Moon. And then being able to bounce spells and traps non-targeting is also very strong. X Purery Happiness is basically just a Dark Ruler no more, which is really powerful. And then also being able to burn for 1,500. If you combine this with the Purery Happy Memory, you can be able to do a lot of damage in one turn, especially if you also combined it with the E-Purery Happiness. The field spell gives nice protection and a little bit of recovery, which is pretty strong. Every end phase, you get to attach free stuff, so you can always have a consistent level of both effects and recovery for materials on something like X Purery Happiness. Purery, my friend, aside from being one of the most adorable cards I have ever seen in the game, is also very strong for recycling and for being able to add consistently, like over and over. especially because the life point payment doesn't really matter if you just consistently gain both players' life points off of Purery Pretty Memory. Speaking of Pretty Memory, this is just insane. Just, oops, send another card you control to the graveyard, which can include just the continuous spell over here. Oh, looks like I just attached your card immediately as free material. That's just so strong. Delicious Memory is definitely the worst of the three, just like how, other than the Banish Monster effect, Plump is the worst of the three. But they are they are definitely still playable. And then Purery Leap gives you a pretty nice Exorcister Amento-esque effect, as well as a Zodiac combo so that you can consistently recover your resources over and over, so that you're not running out of Xyz monsters in your extra deck. So what do I think about the Purery archetype as a whole? So I think it definitely is better than Rescue Ace for getting its important level 1 monster out, which I just still think is so funny that they both revolve around a level 1 monster. I think that because it has so many ways to actually access the level 1, it's just a lot easier to actually resolve your better effects. Granted, you can still use most of your effects without Hydrant and Rescue Ace, they're just not as good or worth it. But here you kind of need it. But I guess that does balance out by the fact that all of the quick plays special summon the level 1 from your deck. And then you also have different ways to get it, of course, being the Purery My Friend and Stray Purery Street. And so because it has so many ways to get it, it is pretty strong. However, if you don't see one of those ways, or if that way gets hit by like an Ash or something, you could be in for a very bad situation. But it is a very strong monster on its own, being able to excavate top 3, add any spell or trap, which can include Purery My Friend, the field spell, or the trap card, and then just revealing a quick play spell in your hand to start going into your Xyz plays is pretty nice, so you can basically almost guarantee to add a quick play spell off the top of your deck. The little Xyz monsters aren't all too amazing, but they are pretty decent in the quick play imperm and the non-targeting monster banish, as well as just Purery Happiness just being really strong. However, I do think, just overall, they are a little bit underwhelming, the level 2s at least. We're once again given the conundrum where we have a very strong field spell, but it doesn't do anything immediately like Light Stage or like the Tearlands field spell, meaning that it's going to be hard to like decide an actual ratio. 2 copies, maybe 3 copies just with no terraforming should be fine because you can add it off of Purery, especially because you can actually add it off of Purery My Friend, so maybe just 1 or 2 copies is perfectly fine. I think this card is one of the main saving graces of the archetype because it's just every turn you can just reveal the Purery cards and consistently add them. It looks like none of the quick play spells are actually a hard once per turn, both for their effects and just for their initial activations period. So that could be very strong, or it could just be a PSCT error, but I'll just look on the bright side and think that they are just all non-once per turns, which is very powerful, because keep in mind, that will consistently give you access to your level 1 Purery. And then the trap card might be like a 1 or 2 of, probably more like a 1 of, because it does give you access to your Purery Happiness, or even honestly one of your little guys if you want their specific effects, and it does give you a little bit of recursion without having to play something like Pot of Avarice. Also, hold up, I just realized that Purery itself does not look to be a once per turn, so that actually seems very strong, considering with the quick plays being able to continuously get Purery out from your deck if you want to keep discarding cards. So that could actually be very helpful. But with that being said, what rating would I give Purery on my rating scale? As always, I do a scale of 1 to 10 whenever it comes to new archetypes. And I'll give them... So because it is so, like, dependent on actually having access to Purery, and you kind of die without it, and also because the rank 2s, while plentiful, are a bit underwhelming, and they will clog up your extra deck, I want to say just a 6 for now. Depends on what we see people actually lab with it, but just in my eyes, I'm going to say just a 6. You have some pretty okay disruption, and you have some pretty okay removal and OTK potential, but you don't particularly excel in either sense. So going first or going second, you'll have to like figure out a specific build on how you want to do it. I think it could be a pretty neat Protect the Castle style deck for all of your rank 2s and for your Purery Happiness. You can probably just, you know, sit on a couple of really strong back row pieces like Floodgates, because all of these seem to be fairies. None of them seem to be beasts, unfortunately. So you can probably do some, like, you know, Rivalry, Gozen stuff. Actually, no, not Gozen. But you can definitely do some rivalry stuff here. So you can either play it in like a Protect the Castle style way like that, or you can play a very aggressive, you know, turbo out Beauty to attach things, turbo out Happiness to Dark Ruler no more your opponent, burn, burn, punch, punch, try to swing for game very quickly. Like I said, we'll have to see more people actually lab with the deck and test it, because it did just drop this morning. but I don't know. So far, I will just give it a 6. That's just my opinion, though. Let me know yours down in the comments, because that is going to do it for the video. If you liked it, please sure to leave a like, as it helps put this video and the channel into YouTube recommended. And if you like this content, you want to see more like it, like the rest of my review series, because I try to review every new wave of support and every new archetype that comes out, then perhaps consider subscribing, because we're going to try to hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and it supports the channel more than anything else. Plus, it's absolutely free. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Aurora, signing off.